Microsoft in 1994. Later, he was general manager, general director for Microsoft France, 1994. And then he was going up in Microsoft as, for instance, CEO and president for EMEA, Europe, Mid-Orient and Africa in Microsoft, leading business plans, sales, marketing, services for all regions, which is more than half the world. In particular, paying special attention to meaningful improvements in customer satisfaction, regional integration, and indeed increase in the business of Microsoft throughout the world. As president of Microsoft International, Jean-Philippe Courtois conducts the strategic plan, the global operations, and initiatives for key improvement in emergent markets throughout the world. Well, out of Microsoft as well, Jean-Philippe is administrator for Planet Finance, official representative of Microsoft in the Institute Montaigne. As well, he has been co-president of the task force of the World Economic Forum. And he has been as well with the European Commission in the Commission for Information Technologies and Communication, ICT. Well, this is a very, very, very long curriculum, but for instance, other things to highlight are that he has acted as a special ambassador of the European Commission for the Year of the Creativity and the Innovation in 2009. As well, in 2011, he was chosen as one of the technology top 25 following the prestigious Wall Street Journal Europe. Well, these are some very, very, very short issues to highlight from the long curriculum of Jean-Philippe Courtois. But as I said before, the important thing is to hear and to listen what he will tell us this afternoon. I would like as well to thank all of you to share this afternoon and to hear at this telecommunication school. And I say again, thank you very much, Jean-Philippe, for sharing this this afternoon with us. Please, the floor is yours. Make yourself at home. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias y buenas tardes. Estoy encantado de estar con vosotros esta tarde en esta prestigiosa Universidad Politécnica de Madrid, pero yo voy a cambiar y hablar en inglés porque mi español está limitado. Gracias por su paciencia. This is a pleasure for me to be with you today. I know this is a fantastic place for innovation. I was impressed just coming from the professor's room to see a lot of very distinguished people on the wall and to see some of the amazing, I would say, contribution that this university is making and some of the great exchange you've been developing, I was told, with MIT and other very prestigious universities in the US as well. So congratulations on that. What I'd like to do in the next 25 minutes is to share with you a little bit about the industry, the technology industry overall, where it's going, the trends. I'd like as well to reflect on what we are doing as a company to shape or contributing to shape that industry moving forward. And in the process, obviously, give you also a glimpse of that innovation. There will be actually a demo, because I love to show products in real action. And so I'm going to ask a couple of students to go on stage and do a demo of a product which is not available yet. We'll see. Stay tuned. And really finish as well, because there will be another session on how much technology can open up many opportunities for you in the world, in Spain or in any other part of the world where you want to innovate, where you want to create your own business maybe tomorrow. So I'd like to touch on that as well. Well, let me start at a very high level with where we come from as a company. You know, we started with those two young guys. Well, the young guys on the left side now has changed a little bit. As Bill Gates, our founder, and with Paul Allen, the two founders of the company. And when Bill Gates started the company about 37 years ago, and I learned actually Università Politecnica is 36 years old, so almost born at the same time that Microsoft, must be a sign probably. Bill and Paul had this very bold ambition, aspiration to basically see the world at a time in the future where there will be a PC on every desk and in every home. That's a big aspiration. At that time, the PC was not even existing. But for sure, I can tell you that any big aspiration, it has been fueling an incredible level of energy, of investment, of innovation by a company over the last 37 years. And obviously, this has helped us to really try to achieve a lot of that innovation across the globe. So I'm doing a very fast shortcut to today. Microsoft, to give you a snapshot of the company, is doing actually business, selling, marketing, servicing, developing R&D projects as well and centers across 120 countries in the world. We have more than 90,000 people working for Microsoft. Our revenue last fiscal year, which ended in June, was roughly $70 billion of revenue. But beyond that, I think what's very important is to understand that we've done that not in isolation. The whole aspiration of the company has been to create a platform, a set of tools, a set of applications to enable a huge partners ecosystem, some independent companies everywhere in the world to create solutions, to create applications, to create services, to create and develop some new hardware, to actually do some system integrations. And right now in the world, if you were to look at this ecosystem, we have actually 640,000 companies, roughly representing $580 billion of revenue, not Microsoft, those companies, and employing 48 million people in jobs. So that's a lot. There's a lot in Spain too, by the way. We are working with 16,000 companies in ICT sector in Spain, and I can tell you all looking for some new jobs and competencies. And I know that the economy is really tough in Spain now, but I can tell you that actually the ICT sector is still looking for more skills and more talents to come in and contribute to the growth of innovation. So that's in a few numbers where we are as a company. Now obviously what we do as a company is trying and contributing to shape the industry. And this is again a long history which keeps moving every month, every day, you could say, at the pace of the internet. It started at a time where none of you were born, obviously, which is okay, and where the PC got started, you know, like back in 1983. I actually started joining Microsoft myself in 1984. I remember I was in France. I was one of the 400 employees of Microsoft globally. That was a startup company at that time, if you can believe. Yes, it was a startup. And the first PC was actually an Apple II. It was not even an IBM PC. The IBM PC came after. It was MS-DOS. And it was the beginning of a very big revolution where the computing power was coming into the hands of the end user, which was fundamentally the vision of our company since day one. Time has been passing, and the industry has been clearly adopting some more advanced technologies like client-server, which has been the way for microcomputers to enter the enterprise business, because that was a way to basically distribute applications between servers, clients, at a time where a lot of the transactions were done on dumb terminals or mainframe, and no one was really seeing or using that information as an end user. That was the world just a couple of decades ago. Then came the internet. As a company, we did a pretty big swing to adopt the internet across all of our products, starting with Windows 95, with Internet Explorer, and many, many other developments that happened at the time. The acceleration innovation has just kept growing the last 10, 15 years. We all talk about la nube now, the cloud. I think it's La Nube, right, in Spanish. And La Nube is everywhere. La Nube is also evolving into some new generation applications, both for consumers, for businesses, for education institutions too. Actually, this morning, interesting enough, I was announcing with the head of the Organización de Turismo, Mundial de Turismo, which is based in Spain, an agreement where we will be providing our innovation out of Mallorca, where we have actually an innovation center in Mallorca in Spain, for the tourism industry in Spain, based on cloud technologies, with a lot of applications for all the hundreds of thousands of small companies in Spain providing tourism services, because that's a big deal for the economy. You know that better than I do in Spain, 13% of the GDP. And cloud is going to be the enabler of the transformation, of increased productivity, of a great experience for tourists using those applications across Spain and the globe. Some of the latest moves, obviously, and we'll come back to it, are related to what we call natural user interface. And this is the way we actually go beyond the typical interface you've been having by using your body, using your gesture, your motion, your voice as well, to interact with devices in a much more insightful way. And certainly we are just at the beginning again of a lot of innovation combining those very advanced natural user interface with cloud backend technologies to provide amazing services on all kinds of devices. So what does it mean in terms of the big industry trends? If I try to summarize some of the mega trends in the industry, I will really talk about those three things. I will talk about devices. As you know, and I'm sure all of you have at least, I would assume, 3-4 devices. I don't know how many phones, tablets, PCs, whatever you use on top of that personally. So this is flowing across the world. To give you a couple of numbers, the PC industry is 450 million PCs per year. Smartphones have just started to actually surpass the PC shipments in the world, with roughly 485 million smartphones in the world. Lot more sold in developed countries. When I go to Asia, I go often to many countries in the world. Next week I will be in China, India. Japan is actually not an emerging country at all, but India, smartphone penetration is still less than 10%. So when you look at the big picture of the world, the smartphone penetration is still like 20-25%. So it's still a huge number of people on the planet, a few billions more, who are not yet taking advantage of those smart devices to access information and technology. But this is just a matter of time. It's coming as all those smart devices get more affordable in cost and as connectivity is getting more ubiquitous in many, many parts of the world. As a company, we are doing a lot of deep investment in devices. Microsoft, as you may know, is not a hardware manufacturer, with one exception, by the way, a proud exception, Xbox 360, which is this gaming, actually entertainment platform that we built. But we didn't build just a hardware platform, we built a consumer experience using the natural user interface, Connect, using the cloud, we call Xbox Live, to connect people and play actually across multiple devices. We are right now deeply investing with many OEM, so manufacturing companies in the world, innovating on some forthcoming devices on Windows 8. So if you stay tuned later on, you may have a chance to look at that. And as you may know, this week is a big week for us and a big day tomorrow in Spain, actually in Barcelona. I was there in Barcelona at the Mobile Congress yesterday, where we'll be we'll be actually making available the consumer beta version of Windows 8 tomorrow. So all of you tomorrow, you can download Windows 8 on your machines and play with it. And let us know what you like, what you don't like, the bugs you can find. It's a beta, so it's fine, you can help us. But more importantly, I think you'll see a lot of amazing potential developments you can do on the devices. So more to come, but smart devices, Microsoft is in, not just on PCs, all the slates. Windows actually will go beyond the Intel architecture on ARM processors, on any device on top of the phone, whereas you know we are providing Windows on the phone as well today. Now, the second big driver of technology change, innovation in the world is the cloud. And the cloud, honestly, is not a new phenomenon, by the way. La nube has been existing for, at least for Microsoft, we've been investing for 15 years in the cloud, 15 years. We actually started working in the consumer cloud space. If you think about Hotmail, if you think about Windows Live, you think about Messenger, think about Bing, you think about Skype today, joining the Microsoft family recently. I don't know how many of you use Skype, just to do a quick sample. Raise your hands. Pretty good, so like it, obviously, yep, okay. So that is part actually of the consumer cloud fabric we've been putting in place, where globally we are managing a number of pretty huge data centers in many different parts of the world, provisioning those services to 1 billion people on the planet. Those services are free for the consumers. The way we monetize that is through advertising online. But I can tell you we've learned a great deal on what it takes from a software standpoint and a system management standpoint to automate the provisioning of all the services to all the people very fast, very securely as well. That's a big deal for consumers too, by the way, not just business. And that's the way we've learned how to build the cloud. In the last 5 years, we've been applying that knowledge to all the enterprise platform that we provide to many customers in the world. So what it means that all Microsoft technologies like Windows Server or database technologies, SQL Server, are available today in the cloud, enabling new, very scalable and elastic development in the public cloud, as well as in the private cloud. This is a huge transformation, by the way, for the economy. One data point for you to have in mind is a data point, a study done by the Centers of Economics and Business Research, is saying that the cloud overall in the world, all the industry, will provide an additional $1 trillion, that's $1,000 billion, that's a lot of zeros, in terms of additional productivity to the economy over the next 5 years. That's huge. And it's going to be also a big jobs contributor as well, by the way. There are new studies showing that it will be a few millions of jobs just in Europe, creating, again, managing many new cloud applications. The third big driver, which I was referring to, is natural user interface. You know, I think the key and the magic of computing these days is to use all the power of the backends I was talking about, all those big, massive computing power distributed in the cloud, and use that to personalize the service in a very intuitive way to the people, not like you, because you're not the geeks, but you are the people who really are deeply into the technology, so you are not the average users at all in the planet. But think about all the people, aging population in Europe, think about all the people in the rural areas in emerging countries. I was in Indonesia a couple of weeks ago. I can tell you, I mean, many of the people who can hardly read and so on, they can actually use a phone. And what they want to do the phone is actually do and have a better living, such as monitoring the price of what they sell, rice or something else, such as connecting with families and friends, such as getting and propagating or sending over countries subsidized when they are working remotely from the Philippines to other countries. So it's actually a very big deal for many of those people to start accessing great applications on those devices across the world with a very natural user interface, which could be the voice, which could be their body language again, which could be done on a screen, on a TV screen, which can be done on a browser, on a very small screen. So when you combine the three factors together, that has an amazing power coming together. And so what I'd like to do now is give you actually a glimpse of how we do it. As a company, we are deeply investing in combining, leveraging those three factors to provide a continuous cloud and consumer experience across all the screens. So you're going to see actually all those screens lighting up with the same user interface called Metro. I don't know if many of you have heard about Metro. This is not just a transportation actually in Paris and also in Spain and other places. This is the new user interface. This is something we created initially for Windows Phone, where we are putting people at the center. Those are living ties. Those are not applications where you just pick an application. Those are actually centers of activities with your contacts, your families, your friends, your project team working on a project and development, whatever it is, and where they connect directly to application to expose back to you what's meaningful to you. As an example, on my phone, I didn't pick my phone because I know it doesn't work well with the mics, but I would have a regular update from my family, from my staff, a few people in the world, on everything they've done, not just on Microsoft email, but actually on SMS, on phone calls, on Twitter, Facebook posting, coming to me. You don't even need to go and enter Facebook, they come to me. And the same applies to gaming, the same applies to business application. So it's a contextual interface with people built at the center. Now what we've announced with Windows 8 is that we'll be bringing the same user interface to Windows 8 on all devices. Not just PCs, not like this laptop, netbook, slates. You'll see some very funny or innovative screens as well in the future with the same interface. And you see Kinect and Xbox on the third part lighting up exactly the same interface. That's a big deal for people. It means they can actually work, play around the three screens. So what I like to do now is actually to call on stage two students. I think it's Sarah and Jose. Sarah and Jose. I think Jose is actually from Politecnica, right? Right, so you must know Jose. And they're going to do a demo. Not easy to do the demo on stage, so please help them with a big hand to give you in a few minutes a sense of this technology working for people in real life. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean-Philippe. Hello, my name is Sara.
Hi, my name is José Ángel.
We're Microsoft student partner. I'm from Complutense University of Madrid.
And I'm from the Technical University of Madrid.
Dogma. I'm going to speak in Spanish for the next demo.
Muy bien, muy bien.
Bueno, no pero a nosotros lo que realmente nos gusta es divertirnos con las aplicaciones, con los dispositivos. Y por ello he traído a mi amigo José Ángel para retarle un duelo con la Xbox.
¿Y qué juego es el que nos has preparado?
Bueno, pues mira, he preparado el Need for Speed en 4 dispositivos distintos.
Uno de carreras, esos son los que mejor se me dan.
Pues como hoy me siento generosa, vas a empezar tú con la Xbox.
Venga, vamos allá. Aquí me lo pone.
Green, good luck.
Pues mira, te voy a demostrar lo buena que soy en Windows Phone.
Lo pruebes en un PC. A ver si de verdad sabes jugar así.
Venga, ya voy.
A ver, un segundito. Venga, ya lo tienes aquí en el PC.
Green, good luck.
Tranquilo, Uy, uy, uy. Pues mira, tengo algo muy innovador para ti sobre la mesa. Vas a poder jugar al Need for Speed y a todo lo que tú quieras. De hecho, la meta no termina aquí. Pensad que hemos jugado al mismo juego en 4 dispositivos distintos. La información está ahí y podemos acceder a ella de la manera más sencilla y cómoda, con dispositivos sin cables y táctiles como la tablet, o incluso utilizando nuestro propio cuerpo como mando y dinero. And now, I'm going to switch back to English and give the words to Jean-Philippe.
Muchas gracias. Sí. Estoy muy impresionado para su capacidad de conducir a Sara. No José. José no. José. Okay, great. I hope it gave you a sense very quickly about the opportunities. Of course, that was a fun scenario, gaming, but the reality, there's no limit to the way you can apply the same user interface, some common development tools as well, as many of you are developing applications and code, to actually publish post-application Windows 8. The great news for developers, by the way, we are for the first time with Windows 8 coming to the market soon. We are not setting a date yet. It's a beta version still. We'll be opening a Windows store. That's the first time. That's a big deal. It means that all the millions of Windows applications and many more new applications built using that Metro interface will be able to take advantage of all the scenarios for the society, for fun, for education, for business, whatever you have in mind in terms of scenarios. And I think there's some amazing opportunities that we are building right with the partners. So let me move pretty quickly about actually the implications for the business community, because I'm sure that a number of you one day will join the business community doing some kind of jobs, either your company or joining some big enterprise, I don't know. And the big phenomenon happening right now in the business world is business people are consumers too, you know that. So maybe your parents, dad, mom, whatever, they use those exciting devices at home, they use social networks, and then they go back at the workplace, and sometimes there's a big disconnect between what they use in the workplace and what they use at home. And of course, they want exactly the same experience. So as a company, what we are trying to build is really a multi-fold strategy to enable enterprise to manage all those exciting user experiences in a very secure manner, because when you work in a company, in a business, you also need to, well, to be careful about the content, the property, the IP you are developing. And that's why you see beyond the hardware innovation on Windows, across the screens, you see a lot of development we've done with our management software called System Center to enable an end-to-end management of actually any devices, not just Microsoft. You see some other couple interesting icons there, the little green guy that, okay, is there. I prefer the flag on the left side, obviously. And we are enabling all the customers to manage that securely. We are also providing globally already all of our productivity collaboration tools online. Office 365 is actually the most popular business application. It's also used in university, by the way. There's a lot happening, both in Spain, Barcelona as an example. I think it's being deployed right now, up to 100,000 people using the service for free for all the students. And the same goes into the enterprise world. And finally, the fourth dimension, which is a very important one, is a development environment. And it's not just a Windows development environment, by the way. Of course, we love Windows, .NET developers, but actually we've built a platform on the cloud which enables Java developers and also clearly people developing on HTML5 as a standard to develop one application that would be able to be executed across all those screens in the same way. So you're going to be able to build application and publish that on the phone, on the browser, on the tablet, on the TV if needed. And I think that's pretty powerful, of course, for many new scenarios you can think about in the business. Now, finishing on the opportunities for people, and certainly youngsters and students like you, just wanted to touch very quickly on the opportunities for people, because I know that our team and Gregorio is going to touch on that in the next session, talking about entrepreneurship. As a company, we've put in place a number of big initiatives to provide access to our development tools. We call that Dream Spark for free to engineers and students. I know we've been putting that in place here in Polytechnica through the club, I think the .NET Club. We've been also creating, and you'll hear much more about that, a startup initiative called BizSpark. In the world today, we are working with 40,000 young startups that have developed innovative applications on the cloud using some Microsoft technologies. And we are helping them out, accessing your R&D teams, free access to development tools, and connecting them to business incubators, VCs to fund the best entrepreneurs. And you'll hear, I think, a great story in Spain of a company doing some great work, Telesis, using Kinect as the way to improve surgery precision, hopefully a better precision than Jose driving as an example, so when you do a critical gesture. So those are big opportunities for you as well. It means that, and beyond Microsoft, as an industry, I think there are some amazing opportunities right now to really reimagine many parts of the business community of people's lives using those very powerful levers of innovation in the world. So our vision as a company has started talking about a PC in every arm and every desk, has obviously evolved a long way. And now we are talking about how we can, working with all people, provide continuous cloud services for every person, every organization, I should say, actually not just business, organization on the planet. This is another very aspirational ambition, of course. It's going to take decades. It's going to take tons of additional work by many people. But this is the way we think about the future. And again, I'm very excited to have shared some of that with you today. And I think we still have a few minutes, about 10 or less than 10, to take some questions from you. And please feel free to ask the question in Spanish, but I will respond in English. Thank you. Gracias.
Thank you very much, Jean-Philippe, for your speech. Now, as you said, it's time for Q&A. So, starting from the room.
We have two rooms, I got it upstairs.
Nobody breaks.
Hi, we are a team and we are taking part this year in the Imagine Cup. Oh. Which advice would you give us for winning the finals?
For yours.
Okay.
Microphone is on
okay.
your
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So Imagine Cup. No, it's not on anymore. So Imagine Cup. I'm sure. I don't know. Many of you may know it or not. In a couple of words, Imagine Cup is kind of the World Cup event for software development. I love football, by the way, but this is not football. This is software development. And every year for the last 7 years, we've been having, last year 350,000 students in the world competing at the country level, so in Spain first, and then going at regional and then global level to a big final where we have some big prize, a lot of celebrity, and for some of the winners, actually, they are part of this bespoke initiative. So the advice is be bold, but be also very professional in your pitch, because it's not just innovation. Do a great job, like Sarah and Jose. I mean, I think they already have mastered the presentation skills, which are very important as well to influence the jury, but if you see the impact you can build through technology on many society issues. And every year we have different themes on environment, on health, on education, and the type of innovation that can really transform part of the society, if you can really illustrate that with a very innovative piece of application and be professional and excited about what you are presenting, you get a shot at going to the big final. So all the best.
Thank you.
So next question, please.
Hi, Jean-Philippe.
Hi.
My name is Mark Villacampa. You made a small mention to RM devices for Windows 8, like tablets and mobile phones. Do you have any plans to release any tablet devices with Medfield Intel technology that it's also developing for smartphones? And also, as you have been in the Mobile World Congress, what's your opinion about this new operating system that Mozilla is developing, the Virtu Gecko? If you had the opportunity to try it.
No, I didn't try it yet. No, I should. I will. I missed a little bit the first piece of the question you said about which technology going to the slate.
You're adapting Windows 8 to ARM devices, but there's also the technology, this new processor from Intel, the Medfield technology.
Okay.
And if you're going to release tablets and the mobile phones with that processor too.
Okay, so the great news, I mean, the Windows 8 will be available tomorrow. but I will not disclose any additional information on what has been published. I cannot. Sorry, I cannot. So we have published actually a very detailed, the head of our engineering on Windows, his name is Steven Sinofsky. He's the kind of a master of Windows development, which is an interesting, fun project to work on. He's been publishing a 20-pages blog just a week ago on Windows on ARM devices. It's actually pretty well detailed. You may not have all the answers you want, but there's a lot in it talking about the way we've been developing Windows 8 on ARM devices, what you can expect. But at this stage, we are not announcing some other processors support. But at the high level, it's about extending Windows as a development platform, as a user interface, to, again, Intel. And we keep a very strong relationship with Intel, by the way, just to hint you about Intel, and ARM processors for the first time ever for Microsoft. As you know, this is the first time. It's a big deal for us, because in terms of engineering, it's about having this consistent product platform on very different types of processors requirements. And we believe we can provide a fantastic experience, not just on the Metro interface, what you didn't see. You can go back and forth using the touch interface between Windows 8 and your Windows 7 world with all the traditional Windows environment as well on the same machine. So I think stay tuned. You'll see some very interesting, week after week, month after month, some news about OEMs, processors supporting Windows 8.
There was another question over there, I think.
There's a question here at the top as well. So here as well in the front. We'll take the last two questions. Sorry. Yeah. Yes. This one, yes. Go ahead. Not working? Yes, it's working. Just speak louder, if you can. What I'm saying too, what, sorry, I didn't understand? Oh, for the people who want to create their own company versus people who want to work for the government, right? I like them both, by the way, so I don't want to take parties. We need them both. We need a strong public administration in every country in the world, but for sure, I would say I have a bias for entrepreneurship. So, you know, this is the way our company was created a few years ago. In our industry, as I said, we are working literally every day, every week, to people, either coming out of universities, sometimes coming, you know, in their own way, on creating some new ventures and new parties. I think we lack still in Europe, so I think it's not, and I know this is a big theme in Spain, I understand as well, to push people to create their own jobs, creating their own companies. I still believe there's more to be done from, you know, from education standpoint in Europe, across not just universities, certainly also parents have a big responsibility for that, to develop the risk-taking you need to be an entrepreneur. You need to take risk. There's no, I mean, there's no confusion about that. You cannot just say, I'm going to have a check every month. It might not come. It will be based on the quality of work you do. But I think there's many great examples now across Europe of those companies, including in Spain. And we want, again, to help partner with Bespark as an example. You're going to hear more on what we can do to get the best of your skills in action as an entrepreneur. Maybe the very last question, if we can. I think there was a question up front, yes. Maybe the mic doesn't work anymore, so just, oh, it's working?
It's working.
Please, the first row is the next one.
Jose, yes. It's working in your hands, but somewhat when you pass the mic. Congrats on the demo, by the way. You did really well.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I don't agree that maybe in this school or in this university people want to be want to go into the public. I think there is a lot of entrepreneurs here in this university. From your perspective, the perspective of a big corporate, what would be your advice to other big corporates in Spain to support entrepreneurs as a business model?
You know, when you think about the job creation in the world, I'm talking about the world, in most of the countries in the world, 60 to 80% of new jobs created are coming from small businesses. Small businesses, not large companies like Microsoft. Yes, we had more people, we do as well, by the way, but it's actually a lot of our partners creating new companies. This morning I was meeting with a company that just is hiring more people on Microsoft Cloud Technologies. They cannot find enough of engineers to do that. So I do believe actually there's a lot of opportunities we need to take, and I'm really glad to hear, certainly with the partnership we have with Politecnica here in Spain, in Madrid, to foster some of those risks that you may want to take as entrepreneurs, and to really go after some very impactful jobs. So we are a very big believer of that as a company. We'll support in any shape or form.
Thank you. Next question, please.
I think it's probably the last one, if you don't mind. Yes, yes.
First at the bottom, then...
Okay.
Hello, I want to know your opinion about the Spanish student and the engineers in Spain.
The Spanish what, sorry?
The student in Spanish.
Spanish students?
Sí.
Wow. Okay, de acuerdo. You know, interesting enough, we are at Microsoft Spain, I think 90%, you said Maria? Maria is the head of our business for Microsoft Spain. You can stand up, Maria. I think, Maria. I think 90% are coming from this university. So you may have a lot of alumni. So what it means, to respond very quickly, we love the quality of the students coming from Politecnica and from Spain. We do. So there's a lot of quality, and not just, of course, in this institution, which we love very much, in a number of places where we have created in Spain, as an example, centers of innovation in many different regions in Spain, in Catalonia, in Mallorca, I think in actually Andalusia as well. And we are working always with very talented students in Spain. So I'm personally a big fan. I think there's a lot of high quality in Spain, and we certainly want to use and certainly take advantage of that as a company working with you.
Nice to hear. Very nice to hear.
All right.
There was another question.
Apologize. Maybe the very last question, because I know people are my team is killing me because there are people waiting on the next meeting, but it's a very quick one, if we have. Otherwise, okay.
Buenas, haré la pregunta en español ya que todos han hablado en inglés.
Okay.
Una cosa que he visto a lo largo de la tecnología en los pocos años que digamos que he estado en temas de investigación es que los códigos abiertos permiten siempre desarrollos mayores, ¿no? Porque participa la comunidad. ¿Por qué Microsoft no pone a disposición, por ejemplo, el código del sistema operativo para que la comunidad internacional pueda desarrollar? ¿O es que acaso esto es la gallina de los huevos de oro que no se puede tocar?
So you're talking about opening the code of Microsoft Windows, as an example, to the open source community. Is it a shortcut I'm taking to your question? Right? Abrir la tecnología de Microsoft al mundo del open software, right? I mean, it's probably the spirit. Well, as a company, you know, what we do to grow as a company is all based on IP, intellectual property. This is the way the technology world works, including many of our competitors, by the way, which are also embracing open source technologies. They have also a number of key IP assets that they really protect strongly, because it took them years, like for us, investing for Microsoft $9.5 billion of R&D every year. That's a lot of money, where we try to get the best out of it. That's one point. Very important to understand the way this world and this economy is working is based on IP. Now, having said that, as a company, we've made a lot of changes over the past 10 years to adopt work on many open source initiatives of the company. We're actually providing access in a certain way to a number of government institutions in the world, a number of research institutions in the world, working Windows code. Not to change it, to be clear, to understand some of the internals, but not to produce another version of Windows, because we believe that one of the strengths of Windows is the ability to run it on every platform the same way, so that you don't have to care for all the implementations, which would be incredibly different. We are also doing a lot of work to work with open source community. If you look at our cloud initiative with Windows Azure as an example, I can tell you we have a lot of open source projects running on Windows Azure today, a lot. And there's more to come. So I think there's been a long way over the past 10 years compared to 10 years ago, where we are as a company, but we still have to mix IP, which is a key factor for any technology company you want to create, with contributing and helping and working with the community on open source projects. And that's the way we try to basically work on both aspects. That was the last one?
Jean-Philippe has a very tight time schedule, so he has to take a flight in 15 minutes or 20 minutes. So
I will miss.
I think that was the very last question, and we must thank again to him for sharing this time in this very complicated agenda. Indeed. Thank you very much, Jean-Philippe.
Muchas gracias. Muchas gracias.